Great day, everyone. I'm Coach Tim, the Mind, Body, and Spirit Coach. I'm also the founder of the Mind Science School of Consciousness, and I specialize in nervous system regulation, working with all kinds of professionals, from athletes, corporate executives, trade executives, high pressure people. But I also work with mental health, those that are dealing with depression, anxiety. Even though I hate to use these terms because I call them labels, but this is what most people are calling it right now. But if you follow my content further, you'll begin to understand that that's actually not what it is. And so, but this leads me to kind of deliver something that I feel that I need to personally deliver today, and that is some information about a process within your nervous system called neuroception. When you get down to the bottom of neuroception, you're getting down to the bottom of pretty much everything that's happening. What people call PTSD and depression and all these things all come from being in a sympathetic nervous system state, survival. All that they just seem to manifest in different ways, but it all comes to that. And so, to give you a better understanding about how neuroception actually works is, first you have to understand how your nervous system works, and you have two different components to your nervous system. You have the parasympathetic side, which is the rest and restore side, and it's the side that we would normally like to be in. That's when we're in coherence, and the brain, everything is, your breathing is calm, you're basically you're in touch with sources, what we say clear thinking, you're creative, that the side of you that's actually the part that people most really don't know, because they're too busy operating the sympathetic side, and so it's kind of really hard for humanity to really understand themselves in this parasympathetic side, because it's generally not habitual state. Which brings me to the state that most people are in, which is the sympathetic side, and that's the fight or flight side. And this mode basically is responsible for protection, and with that, it's supposed to do is doing its job. It's supposed to protect you. The thing about that is when this is not working correctly, it's overactive, the neuroception within this system, then it begins to perceive things to be threats that are not threats. And so, to understand your sympathetic side better, you have three components to that actually you can, three reactions actually. You can fight, you can, run, or you can, a person can what they call freezing or fawning, where they just kind of freeze in a spot, or they get into the situation where they need to appease someone to get out of what they perceive to be an imminent danger. But all of it comes with survival. And so the neuroception within your amygdala of your brain, which is, the fear center of the emotional center of your brain, the limbic part of your brain, if you never heard this language before, it basically is responsible for this neuroception that's going on, and it's scanning your internal and external environment for threats at all moments. And so while this, it's actually doing its job, because it's looking for things that need to be protected from. When your amygdala is also the place where you're holding all your memories and your traumas and the triggers. And so when this system is responsible for, again, scanning your external environment for threats, but it's holding past traumas and events that have made it overactive, now it begins to perceive things that are safe to actually be threats. And so with this, you can see where a person's mental health, because they're imagining things or they're perceiving things that are not actually happening because of the traumas and past things that the amygdala of their brain has actually stored over the years. And so without understanding how this works, it's an unconscious process. No matter what happens, it's happening there before you ever get a chance to even consciously be aware of it. So the main thing about it is first being aware that how this system works is that you actually have something there that's actually doing this, and then you have to become aware of how I need to begin to become aware of these thoughts and triggers. This is what we call consciousness, where you become aware, but you first learn how to not become your thoughts, because most people are becoming their thoughts. They're not aware that you are not your thoughts. Most people are consumed with their thoughts. So their thoughts with those traumatized events they loop a pattern. And to give you an example of how this works, today it could be anything. It could be simple as someone decides, they say they want to talk to you today. It could be your boss. I like to use this example because it's very simple. Your boss could tell you, I like to talk to you, when you have a chance. So let's just say you've had an event that happened that you got fired, or you were reprimanded for something, or maybe the person scolded you or something. Either way, it was something that you perceive to be traumatic when someone tells you that they want to talk to you. As a matter of fact, that's kind of what happens with a lot of people anyway. As soon as you say, I got something to talk to you about, the first thing you kind of go with is, what do you want to talk to me about? Because they don't take it positive, like I'm about to tell you something that's about to help you. They want to take it about what bad is it. Well, that's your system right there, perceiving that there's something is about to be a threat that you're about to say. And it didn't happen right then. But a past event that was stored in the amygdala sounded off the alarm in the body, and now all of a sudden you begin to sweat. Now all of a sudden you might start getting this tight chest. And and while this is all going on, the boss could be talking to you about, I really admired your work, and you've done a great job. But you can't really hear all of that because you're like, man, I thought you were about to call me in here to fire me. So now you got to recover from that thought process, and they have to kind of work this. No, calm down, everything's fine. But it's going on inside of yourself. And this is just one of many things that a person's, if that's going on. You can see anything. You hear the alarm system, anything that the police go down the street, there had to be something going on. I mean, whatever that might make a person feel triggered by past event is stored in your brain. And whenever something happens, you best believe this neuroception process is going to scan it. Oh, this happened in the past. Oh, be aware of it again. So now you shifted moment to moment. You're shifting, to things that happen. It could be you on the highway, to this afternoon, and someone cuts you off. Instead of taking a deep breath and understanding, I get down a little bit. You're cussing, and you switched from just listening to something on the radio that you were actually could have put you in a probably decent mood, even though most music is not designed to put you in a relaxed mood. But let's just say you were, but all of a sudden now this one event, because you have something inside of you that you're tired of being disrespected, and some other past trauma that you've carried, resentment or whatever's going on. So as soon as someone that had nothing to do with this cuts you off, you just lost it. And now your whole system is just shut off. And now you go home and you want to drink. What you think that's going to do something? Because most people are looking for external factors, but you keep searching and searching, and it's just not happening, because all you're doing is basically you're still in the same looping pattern, because you're probably still thinking them same thoughts. So the nervous system is still reliving the same thing, and the neuroception is still singing the alarm, and your body is still feeling it. And you're like, why do you feel tired? Well, you're also losing energy, because your mind, this is costing a lot of energy. And I'm not gonna go too far down, but all we are is energy. We should be learning how to regulate our nervous system so that we actually can utilize our energy for our better good, instead of wasting it with nervous system things, worrying about things that actually not happening. But that's not in the perception of a person who has a overactive neuroception process. So I just wanted to kind of give a kind of understanding, because this could go on forever. But the thing is that the breath is the bridge between the mind and the body. Being able to learn how to breathe, and first learn how to become aware. This is what I teach at the school, is basically you must become conscious and aware of what's happening before you can ever address it. Most of you not even aware of what I've just explained to you. So, and even when it happens, you take it as your normal state, instead of it just being your nervous system that's shifted, because it's in a habitual state of survival rather than actual habitual state of parasympathetic. And the sad part is most people are looking for other people to regulate their nervous system, but that's not possible, because most of you don't know how to regulate your nervous system, because that's not what society teaches. But we teach it at the Mind Science School of Consciousness, and I'd like you guys to join us at the class. I teach a Zoom class every Thursday night, from 7 to 7:30. So DM me or email me at energyhealingnetwork@gmail.com for more information, because that's what we're here for. And follow me on my Facebook page, Mind Science School of Consciousness, because the only way you can really begin to do this and start regulating yourself is become a student to what's going on inside of yourself. And that begins to practice these things. Thank you for joining us.